Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, hey everybody, good morning. Yes, God. Okay, I'm just gonna, give me just 1 second because I'm trying to see if I can get my Facebook and my YouTube live to stream simultaneously. So give me just 1 second to get set up. Good morning. Hey girl. Let's see here. Let me get my notes out. So I was a little bit disappointed that my live did not save yesterday. So we're going to not go as long today because I really want to be sure that I have the opportunity to save it before Instagram times me out, because Instagram times out after a minute. Yes, God. You know what? Sundays are perfect for steaming, because Sundays are the days that we should be resetting and planning our upcoming week and pouring into ourselves and loving on ourselves, because we can't give to other people what we don't first give to ourselves. Yes, God. Wow, that video has 6,000 views. Amazing. I didn't even look at my my YouTube views in a minute, so that's encouraging. Should probably be more consistent on YouTube. Yes, God. All right, let's see. Yes, girl. You gotta do it. It's so important. Okay. I don't know who's been around. I love this shirt. One of my childhood friends actually sent me this shirt. It says, "Trust me, I'm famous." And I had my whole famous thing for a while there. I need to get back on that. I need to get back on my comedy stuff. But I love your energy too. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your support. Let's see. Okay. Now just bear with me one moment. Un momento. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I feel like I'm gonna do this whole clean heart period thing all over again, because I don't like the fact that it didn't save yesterday. So I'm gonna actually probably do it again next. Well, I'll have to look at my schedule and see when it works, because I don't typically like to do lives when my children are here, because they don't care about any of that. And I like to be able to be present and, here with what I'm doing. And they'll be here next weekend, but maybe I'll do it sometime. Maybe I'll do it on Valentine's Day. Maybe I'll do it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday during the daytime. Let's see. Okay. So I don't know if anyone is here that was here yesterday when we talked, but I shared some of my own personal experiences with pain, and I talked about, the fact that pain doesn't always necessarily have to deal with romantic relationships. We experience pain with all types of different dynamics. And I was discussing how my eldest son's father was brutally murdered and shot in the face back in 2006. And I was talking about how the experience of going to the hospital, learning that news, and basically having a meltdown. And it was like really bad. And I was angry. I was really mad at God. And I was yelling. And I was, it was just not, it was not a great experience. Definitely was a learning experience, but it was not something that I would really wish on anyone. And so, I just kind of brought that up to iterate the fact that when we talk about pain, it's not always heartbreak. Sometimes pain can be loss. Sometimes pain can be disappointment. Sometimes pain can be regret, can be guilt, shame. Pain comes in a lot of different forms. Okay. Hold on, I'm almost set with this YouTube, so we'll officially get started in just one moment. I just wanted to kind of recap some of the main things we went over yesterday. And I did recap in the live. If anyone was able to catch the live that I did do yesterday, I came back on after I realized it didn't save, and I did like a 5-minute recap of the things that we discussed. Okay. Starting. Yes, God. Okay, so we're live on YouTube. And let me just washcloth out of here. And we're live on Facebook, so we're live all over. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to pull up. I asked some questions yesterday. Oh, did they go away? No, my questions went away. Okay, that's okay because I remember them. So I was asked a question yesterday about dealing with releasing pain, and someone asked a question about negative thoughts and the way that our mind kind of, speaks to us sometimes, a lot of times in a negative way, and how to manage and how to deal with that. And I thought about that, and for me, I think it's really, really important to make sure that we're being consistent in our self-care in terms of reprogramming. So our mind is, this was for, well, you, was that your question? No, it wasn't I'm sure that everyone, can benefit from this answer, but I don't see the particular person that answered this question. I'm sure she'll watch this video later though. Hey girl. Hey. So in terms of mind chatter and how our mind works. So the primal function of our brain is to protect us. Okay, so our brain is set up to not want us to take risks, not want us to be vulnerable, not want us to really do anything that's going to put us in a vulnerable position. All right. And so unfortunately, that translates into, depending on your upbringing, depending on your parents, depending on your environment, depending on a lot of different things, cultural things, religious things, spiritual, that can mean a bunch of different things. So most of us, for the most part, most people that I have come into contact with have received a lot of negative programming throughout their childhood. It's been reinforced to us that, that things aren't enough, that there is not enough, that we have to be careful, that we need to be cautious, that the world is a dangerous place, that, heartbreak is inevitable, that, you're going to experience pain. And some of those things may be true. However, when we're taught those things from a very young age and we don't know anything yet, and our consciousness is not really open, we haven't really had a lot of life experiences, it's easy to take those things as law and really apply those things. And then once we start to have experiences, once we, start to be in relationships and we start to have things happen to us in our lives that are painful, then we also start to kind of bounce off of those things as a frame of reference for, that's okay, girl. I was wondering, I was like, did I say something funny? I mean, it's cool if I did. People think I'm funny all the time when I'm not really joking, but that's all right, girl. I was like, what is she laughing at? So what happens is we tend to pick up, these kind of repetitive messages of, oh, it's not going to work. Oh, that's going to end badly. Oh, I don't want to put myself out there. Oh, and so what happens is, because of the way energy works and because of the way universal law works, is that we begin to move from experiencing those things to then starting to create those things, a lot of times unintentionally. I just had a client come yesterday who was discussing some personal things with me. And again, the theme is that we have a lot of input. We have a lot of input from television. We have a lot of input from friends who've had bad experiences, our parents who've had bad experiences. Like, people basically project their bad experiences and their pain onto us. So we, as we mature and develop and grow, we start and have our own experience. Even we project those things onto us. And so for me, what I've noticed for myself has been really helpful in terms of dealing, because pain really stems from your mind. Okay. Now, I know that sounds kind of like woo woo, but yes, there are painful things and painful experiences that we have. However, we are in charge of how long we allow that pain to dictate and continue to make us feel a certain way. So for me, what's very, very helpful is, and it's going to sound very cliche, but gratitude. Like, not just, oh, I'm grateful because today's a nice day. Like, unadulterated, compulsive, almost obsessive gratitude. Like, waking up first thing in the morning, immediately putting yourself in a state of, what do I have to be grateful for? You know what? I'm so grateful for this bed. I'm grateful for these sheets. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I can go and exercise. I'm grateful that I got a good night's sleep. I'm grateful I have water to drink. Like, even small things, big and small things, really kind of make that the focal point first thing in the morning, because the way that you start your morning really dictates the energy for the rest of your day. So when you get up first thing in the morning and you jump on your phone and you start to kind of impress your subconscious with everything that everyone else has going on, that's not really pouring into yourself. You're really making yourself available to receive while you're not really being mindful or intentional of the things that you're receiving. So, being sure to really focus on gratitude, and then also something called mirror work. And I'm not sure if anyone has heard of that before, but actually communicating with yourself. Because, and I posted a meme this morning that talked about, communication with yourself being really, really critical, because that's the person that you communicate. If you think about your life and who you communicate with the most, it's you. You, even regardless of whatever relationship you have, I don't care if you're married. I don't care if, whatever relational dynamic you're in, your children, your parents, you speak to yourself the most. And so it's really, really important to set aside space and time to make sure that you're speaking to yourself in a way that is loving, that is nurturing, that is complimentary, that's acknowledging, because most times we speak to ourselves harshly. We're judging ourselves, we're criticizing ourselves, we are doubting ourselves, and we're, if we really were to have like a tape recorder and record, the things and the thoughts that are going through our mind, it's no wonder, that a lot of us are depressed, we have anxiety, we have a lot of fear, because that's the message that we're feeding ourselves. And then on top of that self-talk, we also have other people, and we have social media, and we have television, and we have just society kind of bombarding us with messages, subliminal messages of not being good enough. So one of the ways that we can really, I think that for me personally has been really effective, has been to make sure that I set aside time, uninterrupted time, to pour into myself. Okay. And by doing that, I'm able to, there's something energetic that happens, and it's not difficult to explain. I'm not going to say that. It is how you start your day is how your day is going to continue. And how your day is how your week is. And how your weeks are is how your months are. And how your months are how your life is. So really, how you begin your day really has a huge impact on your life. Just like anything else, it's something that needs to be consistent. It's something that needs to, it's incremental. It takes small steps. I'm not saying that, you wake up one day and you write your gratitude and you make good intentions for your day and you start your day well, that, your whole life is going to change. But I can guarantee you that you're probably going to have a better day than if you didn't do those things. And especially if you're someone who, has high aspirations for yourself and someone who's a high performer, and you know that you have the capacity to be a high performer, that's not negotiable. That is not negotiable. You have to be sure that you are giving yourself the things that you want to be able to give to other people. And then also on an energetic level, we also have to realize that when it comes to relationship dynamics, we are only going to be able to attract people who are treating us the way that we're treating ourselves. Okay, so when it comes to, I had a lot of questions and a lot of commentary yesterday about relationship dynamics that were painful. One of the main themes that came up was communication and being able to communicate with your partner in a thoughtful way. And initially that starts with you. You have to be able to communicate with yourself in a thoughtful way, which means you have to have some self-awareness and you have to have some mindfulness. And honestly, when I first really started delving into my personal development, like hardcore, I really had to understand that, I was speaking to myself like shit. I was talking to myself like I was a piece of shit. And that unfortunately was translating into my relationships as well. And it wasn't something that was conscious. It wasn't something that was intentional. It was just, you can't give. And I made this example yesterday, like I can't offer you or myself a glass of water if I don't first pour water into the glass. So it's important to be sure that we're paying attention to what it is that we're actually giving ourselves, because whatever it is that we're actually giving ourselves is what is the only thing that we're going to be capable of giving other people. We don't have anything. We can only give what we have. And what we have is the relationship with ourselves. So, being intentional about that and really taking time to map that out and think about it. What does my ideal relationship look like? What does my ideal relationship look like with another person? Maybe romantic, maybe a friendship, maybe a business relationship. And then also, what does my ideal relationship look like with myself? I want to be happy. I want to feel accomplished. I want to be at peace. I want to have joy. Because the thing is, when you pour those things into yourself, you no longer become dependent on another person to give you those things. Okay? I don't know if this person is really meant to request to be in my live video or not, but we're not going to do that right at this moment. Yes, God. Hey. Hi, I don't recognize your username. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I'm the CEO and founder of Yes, God Wellness. Welcome. We're talking about having a clean heart and ways that we can go about doing that. Exactly. We cannot expect others to give us what we're not giving ourselves. Okay. So another thing that we discussed was love languages, and really understanding when we're in, relationship with other people, understanding how they receive love. Okay. And really, I'm talking about relationships too, but I really kind of want to stick to the theme of self-love, because again, that's the root of it all. You can only give other people what you have. So learning your own love language is really important. For me personally, I love being active. I love to work out. I love to exercise. I love being outdoors. I love getting my heart rate up. So, you know what? I make sure that I do that for myself. I try to do it on a daily basis. I don't do it every single day, but I'm pretty consistent with that because I know that makes me feel good. That makes me feel good, and it's something that I enjoy. And so, you know what? I'm going to do it for myself. It wouldn't make any sense for me to say, oh, I love to work out. Can you go work out for me? That doesn't make any sense. And honestly, that's the same dynamic as anything else. If you love something, if you want to be poured into, if you want to be honored, if you want to be respected, if you want to be listened to, if you want to be forgiven, if you want to be, be nurtured and have people be compassionate with you, you have to do those things for yourself. And it really starts with being mindful of how you're treating yourself. And I when I really realized how I spoke to myself, it was like a red light came on, because I was in yoga. This was like 10 years ago. I was in a hot yoga class, which can be a little bit challenging, Bikram yoga. And I was cursing myself out. I was like literally really talking to myself very poorly. And that's why I love yoga so much. I actually have earrings called Yoga Save Me at www.yesgodwellness.com. I had to put that plug in there. Also, there is a sale this weekend with code Valentine for 20% off. But anyways, so yoga was a practice that really helped me to get mindful and be aware of the things that were going through my head. It really gave me an opportunity to observe myself and observe my thoughts. Hold on one second, because my computer's about to die and I need to plug it in. So, yes, God. So, and not saying that you need yoga to be able to observe yourself and to listen to yourself, but whatever it is that you enjoy doing, whatever it is, and honestly, you can do that and meditate. And we talked about this yesterday as well. Self-care does not have to cost anything. It does not cost you money to sit down for 10 minutes in the morning and write. There is no extra expense in that. And a lot of times we find that difficult to do because we're not used to pouring into ourselves. We're used to waking up and giving our attention and our energy and our focus to other people immediately. Even when you jump on Instagram, you're immediately waking up and giving your focus to other people. And that is indicative of, how we do anything is really how we do everything. So really being careful and taking the time to pour into ourselves is critical. So the long and short answer of how do I change my thoughts and how do I stop the negative thoughts is it's not a quick fix. Okay, but one thing that you can do is be mindful and be aware of them. So once you hear yourself start to do that, sometimes I'll say it out loud. I'll be like, Megan, you need to choose again. Those words, whatever, and you can pick, a phrase or whatever words work for you, but choose again is something that works for me because it really reinforces the fact that this is a choice. I am choosing what I am saying to myself. This is why affirmations and mantras are very effective, because you get yourself in a pattern of, you memorize these positive things and these things that are indicative of how you want to feel about yourself and how you want to view the world. And so mantras are another thing that you can do in the morning. This is something that once you, and also not just the morning, before you go to bed as well, because the thing is, when you're sleeping, your subconscious is very active. Okay, when you're sleeping is when your subconscious is really kind of working out things for you. So imagine if you're on the phone all the way until you go to sleep and then you jump right back on in the morning, you are bombarding yourself and your subconscious with other people's lives and other people's programs and other people's intentions. When are you ever setting aside time to define and make it clear what you want for yourself in your own life? When are you ever really giving your subconscious a clear, productive problem to solve? You want to be sure that we are communicating clearly and effectively with ourselves. So mantras, affirmations, and consistency is the way that you can start to address those negative thoughts, and being sure to not just, expect that it's going to change right away. We're however old you are, that's how much programming, you're working against. So it's not going to happen in one day all the time. It's not going to happen in 1 week. Not saying it's not possible, because the mind can do anything. And be honest with you, the mind is an amazing miracle. You can align yourself with, this new person that you want to be. And it is possible to become that person very quickly. So I don't even want to say, sit here and say that it's a long, tedious, arduous process. It doesn't have to be. It all depends on what your belief is. If you believe that it has to take a long time, then guess what? It's going to have to take a long time for you. If you believe that anything is possible and you can wake up tomorrow morning and be a completely different person and have completely different habits and do things completely differently, then guess what? You're right again. Exactly. We have to trust the process. And everyone's process is different. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. Okay. And so what I wanted to kind of discuss today was the fact of, and I've kind of discussed this and I've done, talked about this here and there on my channel, but the things that we experience in relationships are really mirroring back to us how we're treating ourselves. So, I'm sure you've heard people say, well, relationships are mirrors. And that doesn't necessarily mean, that if this person treated me this way and this person did this and this person did that, that means that I did all those same things. But what it does give us is an opportunity to look at, how was I doing this to myself? So one thing that we can do to start working through some of this relationship related pain is to, and I discussed this yesterday as well, is writing is powerful, just in general, but writing out a list or writing a letter to people who you have been in relationships, or maybe you even still are in relationships with, and really expressing yourself. Vulnerability is key, and being able to communicate that vulnerability is key. And unfortunately, so many of us are really, really scared of vulnerability. I know myself personally have had issues with vulnerability, and a lot of times we allow that fear of being vulnerable to, we'd rather just not even participate, so we really miss out on a lot of opportunities because of fear. And so giving ourselves the space and time to actually communicate with people, and that doesn't mean you have to have a conversation with them, and that doesn't mean that it has to be a literal communication, but giving yourself the space and respecting your feelings and your heart enough to communicate your feelings with someone from your past that you may have felt pain from, or you may have felt hurt in a relationship dynamic. And this is not just about romantic, but I mean, a lot of, I know that that's what most people are referring to, but we have a lot of, exactly, you got to be willing to open up, because the thing is, if you can't be vulnerable with yourself, guess what? You're not going to be able to be vulnerable with anyone else. You have to be willing to be open and honest and vulnerable with yourself, and write your dad a letter. Write your mom a letter. Write your ex that hurt you a letter and let them know, you know what, this really fucking hurt me when da-da-da-da-da. And allow yourself to go through that victimhood. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because we all of us play the role of victim and predator at some point in life. That's just the nature of that's just human nature. But allowing yourself to express those things, because so many times we try to suppress things and we try to push it to the side, and oh, that doesn't matter, oh, that was so long ago, oh, whatever, and we're subconsciously we continue to create these situations for ourselves because we're not willing to look at and dig deeper and be honest with ourselves about the things that have hurt us. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point. This is how most people feel. That would be so many letters. I don't want to relive it. Here's a secret. Unless you relive it and deal with it, it's not going to change. Okay? It's not going to happen. You're going to keep experiencing the same thing over and over and over again. The difference is now is that you're not actually reliving it. You're actually in a controlled, effective, and positive way. You are revisiting it so that you can release it. There's a big difference between reliving it and revisiting it, okay? And this is what people talk about as the work. This is what the emotional work is. Being willing to go and revisit painful things. Because as long as we keep trying to run away from it and avoid it and suppress it and, oh, I don't want to think about it, and, oh, that hurts so bad, if I go back, it's just going to hurt me again. Well, you know what? I'd rather go back and let it hurt me for, a day or a week or however long it takes me to process it than to continue to attract it and manifest it for the rest of my fucking life. Okay? Exactly. Revisit and release it. And I got to do my plug right now. Steaming is a perfect time to do that. But even without steaming, being willing to go back and revisit this pain is the only way that you're going to be able to let it go and stop allowing it to control your life. Because whether you're willing to admit it or not, unaddressed pain controls your life. Period. It controls your life. It controls your relationship. It controls your negative self-talk. It controls a lot of things. So the only way that you can deal with something is head on. You have to be willing to go and face it. Yeah, because that exactly. People want to compartmentalize, but that compartmentalize is another word for suppression. And that's not healthy. That is not healthy. And honestly, none of us, it's I don't want to say none of us, but it's very rare that we were given these tools. When we grew up, we didn't know how to. We were never encouraged or, or guided to process emotions in a healthy way. Especially men, Urban. And I'm so glad that you're on here. I'm so glad that you're giving some commentary, because this is not just for women. This is for everyone. No one is exempt from pain. No one is exempt. Yes, God. So it is, it's up to you. You got to make the decision. You are in control. You have so much control, you don't even realize it. You don't even realize how good your life can be, because you are continuing to relive painful things. You're continuing to have subconscious expectation of painful things, subconscious guilt, subconscious pain, subconscious shame, subconscious rejection. All of these things that we experience, that all human beings experience, we continue to subconsciously create and attract and manifest those same dynamics over and over and over again. Why? Because it's the dynamic that we have within ourselves. Deal with it and let it go. That made me so angry. I was a mean young lady. I was going to cry, so I'm going to shut up. No, it's okay. This is what you need to do, girl. You need to cry. You need to revisit it. You need to do it in a constructive way, though. I'm not suggesting that, you just sit down and just, lament and think about, all of your pain in your life. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is doing it in a strategic way that is going to free you from it. And energetically, I'll say this, when you write letters to people, okay, they receive those letters. You don't ever have to mail it. You don't ever have to give it to them. You don't ever have to do any of that. But trust and believe the energy of those words is going to reach that person in some way, shape, form, or fashion, okay? And it's going to be padded and manipulated and molded in whatever lesson they need to get from that communication. Okay, but when you are willing to take the time to sit down, to nurture and to care for yourself and to release things, you're going to create so much space and so much openness to be able to receive what it is you really want. Because most of us are full of things that we don't want. It's making us unhappy. It's making us miserable. It's making us depressed. Which part is scary? I mean, and I understand that, and I'll wait for your response, but yeah, pain, emotions can seem scary. But honestly, everyone has emotions. This is what makes us human beings. The ability to have all of this wide range of emotions. You can do it. And that's why I'm saying to do it in a safe, controlled space. Okay? Right. Addressing it in the first place can be scary, but let me tell you something about things that are scary and fear in general. When you turn around and look at fear, trust me, it's not as big as you think it is. When you're running away from something and you're trying desperately not to think about it and not to look at it and not to address it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, kind of like the monster under the bed. But what happens when you turn the lights on? And that's what this is. This is turning the lights on. This is looking at it for what it is. And a lot of times, honestly, it's not as big as we've created it in our minds, which is the great part. Not to say that it's not going to be hard, not to say that you're not going to cry and that you're not going to have an emotional response and reaction to it, but you have to do that. You have to do that. And a lot of times we never, ever, ever give ourselves the space or time or opportunity to do that. You can only, what did Jay-Z, now, what did he say? You can't heal what you don't reveal. Yes, God. And that's just one of the reasons why he's my favorite rapper ever in the world. Yes, God. And plus he's a Sagittarius. But for real, like, that is some really deep shit, and it's some true shit. You cannot heal what you don't reveal. And most people are wanting to, act like they have it all together and worry about the external and worry about, how they look and what they're driving and where they are and, all this other external shit that doesn't mean anything if your internal is fucked up. Yes. Yes, God. Exactly. Release your pain and heal your soul. And it doesn't have to be something that, and not to say that you don't need a therapist, okay? Because some people that works well for them. What I'm suggesting is that you have all of the divine power within you. You have everything you need to heal yourself. You have everything inside of you that is necessary to be able to put yourself in a position that is going to give you a quality of life. Hey, everyone joining in. Yes, God. So I think that this right here is such an important topic, because what happens is we don't deal with this stuff, and then we get into relationships with other people, and we inadvertently cause pain, not just to ourselves, but to other people, because we're still projecting all of those things that we're too scared to look at. And as long as we're scared to look at them, ironically, we're going to continue to do them. So, yes, God. I'm not sure how long I have been talking, because it's not giving me a timer, but I am going to start to wrap this up now, because I do want to make sure that I save this content. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to let me know now. I will be back here tomorrow again at 11:11. But, I hope this has helped someone today. I hope that, you really consider taking time to honor yourself in this way and to love yourself in this way. Good morning. Because, you screen recorded it. I feel special. See, trust me, I'm famous. You better capture that. No, but, I am going to go ahead and save it so that I can have it available for content to put on my YouTube channel and my IGTV. The sale is until Valentine's Day. So thank you for reminding me. Be sure to take advantage of the 20% off sale for Valentine's Day. Also, on the link in my bio, I have created I created a freebie basically to give you just 5 different ways that you can work on releasing pain, and writing is on there, and sitting still and meditating is on there as well. So be sure to check that out. Take a look at that. It's completely free, and it's a good resource to kind of, if you're just starting to kind of really come to a place where you're really ready to look at some things and to release some things, because whether you realize it or not, the things that we're not releasing are going to continue to perpetuate themselves. So we have to be willing to let them go. Okay. So again, the 20% off, just use code Valentine at checkout. I'm excited because I'm going to be redoing my website. I got some new product pictures. So I'm really excited about that. I'm working on a lot of different projects. I'm really excited to share them all with you when they become ready and available. And I love you. And so I hope that you have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you all soon.